Imagine this. It's a normal day in Japan. People at work, kids at school, everything calm, peaceful. But deep down, the sea was planning its revenge. It was a quiet afternoon in Japan, the kind of day that felt almost ordinary. The sun hung gently in the sky, casting a soft golden light over the cities and countryside. People were going about their daily routines. Students in classrooms, office workers at their desks, shopkeepers tending to customers, and families preparing for the evening ahead. The date was March 11th, 2011, and the time was 2:46 p.m. For most, it was just another Friday. A day filled with the usual hopes and worries, laughter and conversation. No one could have imagined that in just a few moments their lives would be changed forever. Suddenly, without warning, the ground began to tremble. At first it was subtle, a faint vibration, like the distant rumble of a passing train. But within seconds, the shaking intensified, growing stronger and more violent with every heartbeat. Windows rattled in their frames, dishes clattered off shelves, and the very earth beneath people's feet seemed to twist and heave. In city streets, cars bounced and swayed as if caught in a stormy sea. Inside homes and offices, people clung to tables and doorways, their faces etched with confusion and fear. The world they knew was being shaken to its core. This was no ordinary earthquake. It was a colossal, once-in-a-lifetime event, a magnitude 9.0, one of the most powerful earthquakes ever recorded in human history. Buildings designed to withstand tremors groaned and swayed under the relentless force. Some structures cracked and buckled, sending clouds of dust into the air. Roads split open, jagged fissures racing across the asphalt, swallowing cars and bicycles in their path. Power lines snapped, plunging neighborhoods into darkness. Sirens wailed as emergency services rushed to respond, but the chaos was overwhelming. In the streets, people ran in every direction, desperate to find safety. Some clutched loved ones. Others called out for help, their voices lost in the roar of collapsing concrete and shattering glass. The city, once so orderly and calm, was now a scene of confusion and terror. As the shaking finally subsided, a heavy silence fell over the land. Dust hung in the air, and the streets were eerily quiet, broken only by the distant sound of alarms and the cries of those searching for loved ones. People emerged from buildings, their faces pale and anxious, eyes wide with disbelief. Some wandered the streets in shock, unable to process what had just happened. Others gathered in small groups, comforting each other, sharing stories of narrow escapes and near misses. The destruction was everywhere. Collapsed buildings, shattered windows, overturned cars, and roads torn apart. Yet in that moment, as the people of Japan tried to make sense of the devastation around them, none of them could have known that the true nightmare was still to come. The earthquake, as terrifying as it was only the beginning of a disaster that would test the strength and resilience of an entire nation. In the hours ahead, a new and even more deadly threat would rise from the sea, forever altering the course of history for Japan and its people. It began as a subtle, almost unnoticeable change along the Japanese coastline. The air was still, and the usual rhythm of the waves seemed to falter. Half an hour after the initial tremors had rattled the ground, the sea itself began to behave in a way that was both mesmerizing and deeply unsettling. Slowly, almost as if the ocean was breathing in, the water started to pull back from the shore. The familiar boundary between land and sea vanished, replaced by a vast exposed seabed that glistened under the pale sunlight. Where there had once been rolling surf and the gentle lapping of waves, there was now only silence and the eerie sight of the ocean receding further and further away from the land. The shoreline, in which had always marked the edge of safety, disappeared before the eyes of those who lived and worked by the sea. At first, people were simply curious. They gathered along the beach, drawn by the spectacle of the vanishing sea. Children ran out onto the wet sand, marveling at the stranded fish and shells that were usually hidden beneath the waves. Some adults took out their phones to capture the strange phenomenon, while others simply stared in disbelief. The older fishermen, however, exchanged uneasy glances. They had heard stories from their ancestors about the ocean's sudden retreat, tales passed down through generations that spoke of the sea pulling back before returning with unimaginable force. Yet for many, the moment was filled with confusion and wonder rather than fear. The crowds grew larger as word spread through the coastal towns and villages. People pointed toward the horizon, trying to make sense of what they were seeing. Was it a sign of something extraordinary, or just another quirk of nature? The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, a sense that something significant was unfolding, but no one could quite put their finger on what it was. But what the people on the shore didn't realize was that this strange retreat of the sea was not a harmless curiosity. Far beyond the horizon, where the sky met the water in a sunblåst blue light and blue line, a force of nature was gathering. The earthquake that had shaken the land had also displaced an unimaginable volume of water, sending a massive wave hurtling toward the coast at terrifying speed. This was no ordinary wave. It was a tsunami, a wall of water over 40 meters high, moving with the unstoppable momentum of an entire ocean set in motion. As the wave approached, it grew taller and more menacing, its crest foaming and churning with raw power. From the air, the scale of the tsunami was almost incomprehensible. It dwarfed buildings, trees, and everything in its path. The people on the beach, still captivated by the exposed seabed and the mysteries of the receding tide, had no idea that within moments their world would be changed forever. The tsunami was coming, and nothing could stand in its way. It hit Japan with terrifying speed, sweeping away everything in its path: houses, cars, streets, and lives. In moments, entire towns were gone. The result? Well, more than 15,000 people lost their lives, hundreds of thousands lost their homes, and the Fukushima nuclear plant exploded, causing one of the worst radiation disasters in history. But Japan didn't give up. They rebuilt, they recovered, and honestly, they showed the world what strength, patience, and discipline really mean. What happened in 2011 was a warning. Nature may be calm, but never weak. If this story moved you, I invite you to become a part of our growing community by subscribing to this channel. Here, we don't just recount the facts. We honor the memories, the struggles, and the resilience of people who have faced unimaginable challenges. Every week, we bring you real-life stories from history's darkest moments, stories that remind us of the strength of the human spirit, the importance of compassion, and the lessons we can learn from the past. By subscribing, you're not just supporting this channel. You're joining a group of people who care about understanding the world, who want to remember those who came before us, and who believe that by learning from history, we can build a better future together. When you hit that subscribe button, you'll never miss an episode. You'll be the first to know when we release new content, whether it's a deep dive into a disaster that changed the course of history. A survivor's personal account, or an exploration of how communities rebuild after tragedy. And if you click the notification bell, you'll get an alert every time a new story goes live, so you can be part of the conversation from the very beginning. If you found this video meaningful, please take a moment to hit the like button. It might seem like a small gesture, but it really helps more people discover these important stories. The more likes a video gets, the more the platform shares it with others, and that means more people can learn, reflect, and remember. Your support helps keep these stories alive, and it encourages us to keep researching, interviewing, and sharing the voices that might otherwise be forgotten. I also want to hear from you. This channel is a space for discussion, for empathy, and for learning together. In the comments below, let me know what you thought about today's story. Did it change the way you see the world? Did it remind you of something from your own life, or inspire you to learn more about a particular event? Your insights, questions, and reflections are what make this community special. I read every comment, and I'm always moved by the thoughtful responses and the connections people make with each other. And now, I need your help to decide what story we should tell next. I'm torn between two powerful events, each with its own lessons and impact. Should our next video be about the devastating 2004 Indonesia tsunami, a natural disaster that claimed hundreds of thousands of lives, reshaped entire coastlines, and brought the world together in an unprecedented relief effort? Or should we explore the haunting legacy of the Chernobyl explosion, a man-made catastrophe that changed the way we think about nuclear power, left a city frozen in time, and continues to affect lives and the environment decades later? Take a moment to imagine both stories. Picture the immense waves crashing onto the shores of Indonesia, families searching for loved ones, and the global outpouring of support that followed. Or envision the silent, abandoned streets of Pripyat, the brave workers who risked everything to contain the disaster, and the long-term consequences that still echo today. Both stories are important. Both deserve to be told, and I want to know which one you're most interested in. So, scroll down to the comments and tell me. Should the next video be about the 2004 Indonesia tsunami or the Chernobyl explosion? You can also vote in the poll that's linked below. Your feedback will shape the direction of this channel, and I can't wait to see which story you choose. Thank you for watching, for caring, and for being part of this journey through history's most challenging moments. Together, we can keep these stories alive, honor those who lived through them, and learn the lessons they have to teach us. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. I'll see you in the next video. So what will it be? The story of the 2004 Indonesia tsunami, or the haunting legacy of the Chernobyl explosion? Cast your vote in the comments or the poll, and let's decide together. Your voice matters here. Thank you for being part of this community.